Hello, welcome to the Record Celtic podcast brought to you by NordVPN. I'm delighted to be joined by Record Sports' Ryan McDonald and Michael Gannon. Guys, I think we can just about breathe again 24 hours after a pretty pulsating game at Ibrox.
That's the thing, just about catching my breath. That was absolutely madness.
Do we expect anything less from this season and this fixture? It's like, I think we said before that it could be a silly one, and it absolutely was, wasn't it?
It was crazy.
Absolutely crazy. But aye, all good fun.
There's obviously tons for us to talk about. Maybe go through the match in as fine detail as we can, I guess. Starting at the first half, I mean, Celtic were absolutely nowhere near it. I don't even have the words to describe. Martin O'Neill said himself, never mind second best, they were about fourth best. Pretty poor the first half. Do you think maybe in retrospect the manager gets his team wrong?
I don't know. I see this thing about, he should have started Dae Hatate. I'm not being funny. Dae Hatate hasn't been anywhere near up to the standards that he should have been for the last year to 18 months. He's come on and he's finally made a difference. I think it's been a long-awaited performance from Dae Hatate. So, to be honest, I wouldn't have really changed the midfield. I think I would have probably opted for that same midfield. I know Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, it was probably a bit of a culture shock for him on Sunday. He just looked well off the pace. He looked like a rabbit in the headlights. It wasn't any surprise at all to see him hooked at half-time. I think that's maybe a wake-up call in terms of where his fitness is at the minute as well. But, plaudits for O'Neill for making the changes at half-time. I think he definitely made the right changes. You talk about Tenecchio, he deserves a run of games. But again, whenever I said Tenecchio has started, he's not influenced the game from the first whistle. The only time he's really made a difference or made an impact is from the bench. And he has got a super sub role and he's the expert at it at the minute. But yeah, I think in retrospect, to be honest, maybe Shavan-Kara, maybe he should have started up front instead of Adamu. But again, Adamu, I mean, he wasn't getting any service, so it's hard to judge him as well. I don't know. I think Rangers just blew him apart, to be honest, in the first half. I think Celtic fans would have been probably fearing the worst at half-time as well. Or maybe lucky to go down just 2-0 to win 2-0 down. I thought you were perhaps looking at, an absolute mauling, 3 or 4-0 in the cards. But to Celtic's credit, as this Martin O'Neill's team seems to do it, they just find a way just to battle back. And I think that point just about keeps them in the title race.
What do you think, Mick? I mean, I would probably agree with Ryan. I think had they lost yesterday, I would have probably think title race over for Celtic, but I think they're still in it.
Just about. I mean, there's still a lot needs to happen for Celtic to win this league this year. Maybe too much. I don't think it was as much a personnel problem at the start on Sunday as a tactical problem. And it's a tactical problem. I think Celtic are now, I mentioned it in the Hot and Live last night, they're a team that's caught between 3 different managerial styles and ways of playing, and they've lost any sort of semblance of what they're actually about. And this, I mean, sorry to get the mention, whether you call it getting the ball forward early or being direct or you want to call it, it's not the way Celtic have played for a long, long time. They put Adamu in there, who's a big lump of a guy, and the temptation is when you're under pressure or you're getting pressed, hit him. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't win a single ball at any point in time in the game. And any time he even got in the way of a ball that was long, the second ball wasn't getting snapped up because Oxlade-Chamberlain and Negrin are not guys are going to go and win second balls. They're just not in their game. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think, we mentioned as well, that latest in a long line of big-name players who have been completely swamped by the fixture, taken aback by the pace, the ferocity, intensity, and just didn't handle it. Give the ball away far too many times and had to be sacrificed. It wasn't. I understand why they played him, a bit of composure on the ball, but you don't get time in the ball in this fixture, and he paid the price for it. So Celtic were malfunctioning all over the pitch in the first half. I mean, they were trying to get the ball up early. It wasn't sticking. And they were putting diagonal at Dae Murray, who couldn't control a bag of cement. Yang was completely ineffective. Yang was actually, people say he's anonymous, but that made him actually, it was actually worse because he wasn't helping out his fullback, who was getting a real tough time. Romans was given the first half was a real problem. Rangers are a long ball team, right? They were launching balls up to the centre of the defence, and then the 4 or 5 guys run about it, picking up scraps. Still couldn't cope. When they changed it at half time, I don't know what happened at half time. I think something happened at half time when they had a real conversation saying, why are we playing this way? And right at the Rangers' hands, playing right at the Rangers' hands, and we're getting thumped. it was almost like he's a go back to kind of what their strengths are. Try to pass a ball, try to build, get some wide play, get players forward, have combination play, some kind of passing game. And it got a bit of joy. Rangers, in fairness, I thought they wet the bed. I thought they played out Celtic hands as well by changing their formation in a kind of defensive way to see it out, invited pressure, and Celtic grabbed the chance and bossed the second half. But it's not. I mean, getting a point was a decent return after that horrendous first half. I mean, that was as bad a first half I've seen Celtic play against Rangers. I mean, the 3-0 game last season was a bit of a kind of freak given the season Celtic were having. But you're going back. I think you're going back decades for a performance that bad. I mean, it was absolutely epically bad the first half.
I think you were right, Ryan. I perfectly expected it to be 4 or 5 in the second. Well, honestly, I really did.
They're fortunate that the Rangers have got their own failings, and it could have been game over by half time. And then straight after half time, they started badly as well. By the way, it could have been 300 after 48, 49 minutes. But they got a foothold and got back into the game, and fair play. They showed that kind of spirit. What you think is, I hope that for their sake, they think that they realise that they need to play their game to their strengths. Happened to Tynecastle as well, by the way, getting dragged into this long ball game and getting destroyed. It's happened at various times against teams like Kilmarnock and others, getting dragged into a game that's not theirs and getting destroyed at it. If you make it a second ball game against Celtic will lose because they can't win second balls.
Yeah. Just not built for it, eh?
No.
I think for me, the real problem Martin Neil's got is he doesn't know his best starting 11. And we get to this stage of the season, you really need to be able to hang your hat on certain players. You know, Sinisalo or Schmeichel in goals, you know, so what we hear is Schmeichel was ill. And that made Neil's decision quite kind of made it easy for him. But I think Sinisalo's got to start between the sticks. I think, again, he didn't do anything wrong on Sunday. Thought he was fairly solid.
Sorry to jump in, Ryan, but would you now, both you guys say that Sinisalo's the number 1 now?
I think he's got to be.
Aye.
He's got the gloves. You got to stick with them. He didn't actually, weirdly, he didn't have that much to do.
Aye, I know. Aye, didn't
and obviously, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people giving, or during the game anyway, giving Dae Murray stick. But I tell you what, he responded well.
I was going to bring him up, Ryan, because my heart was honestly breaking for the guy when obviously he made the mistake for Rangers' second goal, and you can see in that picture if you're watching it. He was just, you could see it in his face. But I thought he was really, really good after that. I thought he won every header. I thought he was composed. And I think he came through it. So many other people would have crumbled after that.
That's it, 100%. I think especially, you know, a young guy, I know we keep saying he's young guy, he's 22. He doesn't really have much senior football experience. And to make a mistake of that magnitude in that fixture, in that environment, you know, a lot of people, like you say, would have crumbled. And I wouldn't have been surprised if Martin Neil had maybe taken him out the firing line at half time.
Crossed my mind as well.
I thought he did respond extremely well. You talk about the aerial duels that he won as well. I thought he was absolutely dominant in there against two right handfuls in Sharmiti and Naderi. So, you know, fair play to him. I think he can roll him back. I mean, the thing is, there will be a narrative set around this lad now. He's made mistakes at Villa Park, Tynecastle, and now Ibrox. So
he has got a ricket in him. I mean,
so there is that kind of in the background. But the thing is, he's definitely got the next 2 league games anyway to take his claim and try and change the narrative and win people over. But I thought his second half performance, particularly the way he responded, I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. But listen, it's a fickle game because had Celtic lost that game, I'm not so sure Dae Murray would be getting any kind of plaudits. So he's fortunate in the sense that Celtic clawed it back to draw 2-2. But yeah, I thought, in general, I thought he deserves a shout out for the way he responded in that environment.
Yeah, I think Rangers helped him as well in the second half by going one up top, by taking the second striker off.
Yeah,
it helped him a wee bit as well because it wasn't man for man and dealing with that, and then dealing with the fallout from the kind of the scraps. So I thought that helped him, but there's no doubt he's got a ricket in him. I mean, usually won a game, and not all the time he gets punished for it, but he's got to get ironed out his game because Celtic at a point in the season now they can't afford to be chucking in goals. So if he is going to play, he's going to have to be switched on. He's got a bit about him, but he has got that ability to have a moment now and again. I think Celtic in general, I think the bigger issues are further out the field. I mean, I think the problem they've got is that Austin scored 2 goals at Ibrox yesterday, but again, penalty kick in the last minute to get a draw. Kieran Tierney popped up a goal.
I thought it was a great goal, by the way.
Like,
I thought Negren's cross and the header was brilliant.
But what is happening with Celtic strike force? What is going on? I mean, Chanchara, you think is going to start the game, doesn't start, doesn't go off the bench.
Sorry to jump in, Mick, but I thought that was really peculiar that he didn't. And Celtic searching for a second goal, and he doesn't even go off the bench.
Well, he's only scored 1 goal in 8 games anyway, so he's not been prolific to start with. So he needs to get that up. Adamu, who played 50 minutes in Stuttgart, I thought he was okay. Stuttgart, I don't know what you think, Ryan. I thought he was all right. I mean, he was a bit of a
hand. In the stadium, I thought it was a handful. He made obviously a neat assist for Luke McCowan in the opening seconds. I thought he was a handful. That's the best way I'd describe him. Is he literally the type of striker that's going to score 10 goals between now and the end of the season? No.
Well, there was a Norwegian, and I wish I could remember the account on Twitter, but they were saying, watching the game, a Norwegian football account saying, that's not Adamu. Adamu's not like a target man. He's not there to hold the ball. That's not what he does. Like,
no, but this happened with Celtic at Hearts. As soon as they played Chankara in his first game, it was almost like some Celtic players think, oh, he's 6'3", so we'll just have to get out of the park. It's almost like a panic stations thing. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to work out. Is this a game plan? Or is it a default when defenders are panicking under pressure? They just launch it to the big guy because he's there. But when you don't have that option with Dae Murray, changes the way that you play. Listen, it's easy playing 2-0 down as well, by the way, so you've got to take that into account. But Adamu's not a target man, clearly. I mean, he wasn't at the weekend. I'm not sure what he is yet, because he plays 45. He goes off the bench, gets a winner, equalising against Dundee. Plays 45 minutes next week, is hopeless, gets hooked. Goes missing for a couple of weeks, goes back in against Stuttgart, does okay. Then he plays again, gets hooked again. Chankara starts, looks like the main man, then he gets dropped. Nowhere to be seen. And he actually clicks off the bench in Germany, then he doesn't even get his tracksuit on at the weekend. These are Celtic's 3 strikers, and they're back to using Dae Murray up front. So back to where they were before. The January window is now looking like another waste of time for Celtic, let's be honest. Benjamin Arthur can't get a game ahead of Dae Murray. Mavuku, I mean, where he's gone, I mean, send out a search party for him.
Is he injured, Mavuku? No. Just no good enough to be in the team.
He was in training during the week, so he's definitely
just trying to settle in Scotland, but he's only on a 4-month loan deal. So Celtic are going to need to have some kind of. And listen, Dae Murray, I thought, helped on Sunday being up front. Still missed probably 2 big chances. I mean, they had
sorry, man. Sorry.
Penalty kicks in the back of the net. Penalty kicks in the back of the net before that. So you can't rely on Dae Murray, because Dae Murray is not Dae Murray last year. Every touch turned to goal.
Sorry, I realise I keep cutting everyone off. Sorry, I don't mean there's a slight delay in mind. But I was going to just say, Mick, Ryan, I thought you hit the nail on the head when you said, look, the whole reason why Rio Hatate wasn't starting is because we don't know if we can rely on him anymore. And the same with Maeda up front. Like, I agree, Mick. I thought he actually gave Rangers problems, caused a bit of a calamity in the box, obviously won the penalty. But I've got no idea now if he starts what Maeda's going to turn up, and Martin O'Neill must be the same.
I think the issue is, again, I've said it. One, Martin O'Neill doesn't know his best starting lineup, and there's 10 league games to go now. And 2, I don't think there's many players that he can trust, because, like we said, how many players are you going to get a 90-minute performance out of? I think you're looking at Callum McGregor, Kieran Tierney, if he can last that long. Maybe Julian Araujo. Is there anybody else you can really trust? I'm not so sure. So this is the biggest problem, that you're getting to the business end of the season now, and I just think Celtic are so unpredictable. I said it in the last podcast. I wouldn't be surprised they got to Pittodrie on Wednesday and dropped points, because this is just the theme of Celtic season. And yeah, I think I totally agree with what Mick said. The up front is a big issue, because where are the goals going to come from? I've said it before, but where would Celtic be without Benjamin Negren? Gets an assist at the weekend, and then he scored 18 goals this season. If it wasn't for him, £1.7 million signing in the summer, Celtic would be probably 4th at the minute. So I think there are, the draw kind of spares the blushes. It could have been a lot worse. It keeps Celtic fighting in there, but I think there's still deeper problems for Celtic between now and the end of the season, and that's why I seriously doubt their credentials in terms of winning this title. Especially if you look at the amount of points that's probably going to win the title. You're probably looking about 80. I think that's maybe the benchmark. Hearts, if they can get 5 wins or so, 6 wins.
5 wins and 2 draws, and Hearts are breaking 80
And Hearts are
points.
pretty much champions. And bear in mind also they've played a game more than Celtic, so they've got the points to the bank. It's and I think they've got some favourable fixtures. They probably get arguably the easiest run of fixtures between now and the split. So I'm assuming they'll get some wins to the bank there as well. So I think now you're looking, Celtic need to be flawless. I know we've said it before, but I think genuinely Celtic need to be flawless now between now and match day 38 if they're to stand any chance.
10 wins basically.
The thing is, their goal difference is also a point.
Motherwell will get the best goal difference of the lot, which is absolutely staggering.
They're 7 goals worse off than Hearts, so that's a point basically.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at last season in terms of the goals scored last season, for Celtic to match last year's goal total in the league, they need to score more than 6 goals a game in the last 10 games.
That's a crazy stat.
Last year they scored 112 goals in last year, and this year they get 51. So they need to score.
That is mad.
61 goals in 10 games to match last year's total. The totals at the moment, Benjamin Neal's got 14 league goals. Next in line, from the 3 strikers who they've got up front, Dae Murray's got 7, and Iniacho's got 2. One of them is his debut back in August. Chankara's got 1. Adama's got none in the league. That's Celtic's 4 guys who will be playing up front in the next 10 games, who have got less than 14 goals, but listen, we'll get 10 goals between them. And so Celtic now aren't just having to win games. It's a math challenge for Celtic. How do they get to 81 points from 55 points with 10 games with strikers that don't score goals? That's a problem.
It's almost as though the club's been really poorly managed.
Well, that's the
It's
thing.
almost as if selling your best attackers is also a bad idea without properly replacing them.
Well, I mean, Dae Murray, 20 goals last season. Maida's a shadow himself, 34. Couldn't get 20. Kyogo got 10 league goals and got sold halfway through the season.
You're right. It's just mad that Celtic have been stripped so quickly. And, I said to Ryan, without, don't want to single anyone out, but there's 3 or 4 players, I think, playing at Ibrox yesterday that really don't have any business. In terms of Martin O'Neill's first Celtic team or a top Celtic team, they're not really top Celtic players. No one near it.
No.
But
I mean, you look at Celtic side, that the team in the first half just looked like a team of misfits, to be honest. Dysfunctional, press was all wrong, just frightened by the occasion. It looked like totally overawed by Rangers. They looked like men against boys at times. Rangers completely outfought them, outrun them, and outclassed them. But again, you've got to give them credit. It's easy just to kind of have a pile on this Celtic team, but they seem to find a way domestically to roar back in the second half, and that is what's keeping them in this title race. And Martin O'Neill probably deserves the credit for that. He's been the figurehead that's kept this team alive. But as I say, I think what needs to happen between now is you need to have guys who get Septi Teneki in the picture just now. I thought he was a real game changer at the weekend, but you need him to be performing for 90 minutes. You need him to be chipping in with goals and assists over 90 minutes. Martin O'Neill needs to be able to rely on him from the start. So this is the time now if Celtic are going to make a real fist of this. Everyone needs to step up. It's all good doing the talking in the media, but this is the time now where the players actually need to justify their wages and their price tags and get Celtic, give Celtic a real fighting chance.
Let's let them keep talking media as well, right? We like that. We like them talking media as well.
It was amazing to see Martin O'Neill kind of put that picture up a minute ago. Saluting the Celtic fans. It was a throwback to obviously times gone by, and also Julian Araujo is one a lot of fans for winding up Rangers players at the end of the game. I know we did a story on it in Record Sport Online, but there was a kind of more serious point to it as well, in the sense that do you think maybe the celebrations from Celtic fans have went a wee bit over the top? It reminded me a wee bit of when Rangers and Celtic drew 3-3 at Ibrox in 2024 and Rangers did a lap of honour, like they just won the league title. Like, I get being 2-0 down in that manner to come back and get a draw was brilliant, but I don't know. I just felt like fans were celebrating a wee bit like they'd won. I'm going to get slaughtered for this now, I know, but...
No, I mean, I think we get back to 2 goals down when literally I think the title, if you're going to win or out it, is hinging on Celtic scoring that penalty. I don't think there'd be bigger pressure moments than Rio Hatate in recent years. I can't really recall many stepping up to take that penalty. And the thing is, I just had a feeling he was going to miss it. I think he's got a great conversion rate from the penalty spot. I think Celtic really need to be, when the summer market reopens, I think they need to find themselves a penalty kick taker. So I don't think you can find them. But I think when Celtic look down and out, to come back at the home of your fiercest rivals and to score in the circumstances that they did, to keep them in, to keep them fighting. I think, there wasn't as if it was a mad lap of honour. You watch the celebrations.
That's true.
Yeah, enough the tensions flared between both sets of players. But you look at when Mark O'Neill and the squad, when they went over to salute the fans at full time, it wasn't as if there was mass celebrations. It was a more case of waving. We got the result. Next, no mad celebrations. Next game's on Wednesday. So I don't know. I didn't feel it was over the top. I feel as if it was that's just what happens in Derby Day when you come back and you salvage a point for nowhere.
I didn't get that feeling either, Daniel, in the stadium. I mean, I thought they went across to the fans at the end. I think it's more like almost a kind of thanking supporters to stick with them.
Do you know what? I should probably caveat. I feel like it's maybe just social media and my mates I'm thinking about, to be honest. But
I mean, to be honest with you, I thought they stuck with the team most of the game. Listen, at half time, they could have went home at half time. I mean, the Celtic fans could have left and back to the pub at half time. It was that bad. But they stuck with them right to the end. I think that was more the kind of the case, because I think what you said, the other side of things, the home crowd kind of did turn a wee bit on their own team. The frustration was boiling up.
Stadium,
See, I couldn't tell that in the TV. Did it get quite palpable that the Rangers fans did?
It did. I mean, obviously the nerves start kicking in, the mistakes start cranking up, and it's kind of a kind of self-perpetuating situation. So the more the crowd get frustrated, the more the players make mistakes, the more the crowd get angry. But there's trust issues with Rangers support and their team, because they've seen it too many times, and they feel it's a kind of a rerun of a horror movie they've seen before. But Celtic fans stuck with their team right the way to the end. I think that's what the end. I don't think it was any less or any more wild than we've seen against like Kilmarnock and Livy and all these kind of things in recent weeks with the last minute goals. So no, I wouldn't say that. Plus, it's a game against Rangers at Ibrox.
Of course,
a decent crowd in there for the first time in God knows how long. That's the first time they had 2,500 for a good while.
We've only got a couple of minutes left because I know you guys are very busy men. But before we do that, I've put the league table up several times throughout this. Ryan, or Celtic, where would you put them in terms of the title race? I take it you don't think they're favourites. And on top of that, the cup game next week. I mean, I imagine the starting lineup will look very different from yesterday. For
me, the title race, they're still just about hanging in there at that point. And then if they win at Pittodrie, it's a big if, because again, people are expecting this to be a walkover, but a midweek fixture, midweek trip up to Pittodrie in the back of such a energy sapping game on Sunday. I don't think it's, in the way Celtic are playing, they're so unpredictable. I think Celtic they just need to get the job done up there. So I think that just about keeps them in it. It's must win at Pittodrie. If they drop points, I think you can count them out. For me, as I said, they need to be flawless between now and the end of the season, and that means picking up essentially maximum points. I don't think there's any margin for error now. In terms of Sunday, I think Austin Trusty's available, isn't he? So he might come back into the fold ahead of Dae Murray. I don't know if I would expect massive changes, to be honest. Perhaps Hatate. Again, there is this game on Wednesday night, which that will have a big factor in how players perform as well, and obviously the results. So might be a bit early to cast judgment on how they'll line up, but based on Sunday, yeah, you'd maybe expect Hatate to be in with a chance of starting again, Seb Tenetke as well, and I think there'll be definitely a change up front with Adamu. As I say, the guy, I know he was subbed for the second time in a domestic game, second time in a row domestically at half time, but I think he didn't get any service at all. He was chasing shadows up there, so I don't think you can really judge him. But I think for a different presence, I think maybe Shivan Chara might start on Sunday. But yeah, we'll just need to see what unfolds on Wednesday night.
What do you think, Mike?
I certainly think they need to win every game up to the split, because I think Hearts have got a good run of games right now. They've got, was it Livingston, Dundee, and is it Falkirk as well? I think it is. I think they'll win the next three. towards the split. I think it's at their last game. They got Motherwell as well, isn't it? Or something.
They've got Motherwell at home. I think the last game.
So I think Hearts will win the next 9. I think they've got Kilmarnock, Dundee, and Livingston. I think they were 9 points out of 9 for them. So if Celtic slip up again, if they can get a victory at Pittodrie, which I expect them to do, because Aberdeen their season's over practically. They're howling. They've been diabolical all season. Their hopes are out and winning the cup as well now. I expect them to get 3 points up there by hook or by crook. So the gap goes to 5. I think Hearts win the next 3. Celtic have to win the next 4 games into the split to stay in touch. If Celtic can stay within 3 points going into the split, it's game on. If they slip up again, then I think it's game over. I think Hearts theoretically could be 4-5 wins from the title.
I think could be as little as 5 wins and 2 draws for them to win it.
People say we're saying the 80-point mark is the point. It might not even take 80 points this season. So I think there could be 4 or 5 victories and a couple of draws from the title. But Celtic have to win every game now to the split, and then it's going to be an absolute bun fight. I think there will be points spilled, but it just depends on that. I think Hearts will have 9 points in the bag at the thing, so the gap could be too big to matter. You know what I mean? So if it gets within striking distance after the split, then it's all fun and games. If they've got a cushion and they can afford to drop points beyond that point, it's different. I mean, it means that Celtic and Rangers really have to keep winning the games. So there's no choice.
The one thing that works in Celtic's favour is post-split, they will have Hearts and Rangers at home.
At home,
and obviously Hearts and Rangers need to play each other again. So there's a potential for Hearts to spill points there. So that is
Edinburgh Derby as well.
But I think the key thing is that at that point there has to be within striking distance, because if Hearts are 7 points, if Hearts are 7 points clear and it's the second last game and the split or third last game, it could be too little, too late. You might have to rely on them dropping points in the last couple of games. That's not going to happen. So they need to be in within striking distance, which means they need to keep winning, because Hearts I don't think are going to drop points in the next 3 weeks. I think they've got a fortnight off. I mean, Hearts don't know. They're sitting their feet up. They'll have Shankland back, probably Cammy Devil not far behind them. They're going to be in great shape. I think Hearts it's their title to lose now.
They were meant to go to Dubai, but obviously World War III in that, so I don't think they'll be going. Whatever happens, we'll be here to cover it all on the Record Celtic podcast. Ryan, Mick, it's always an absolute pleasure. And thank you for watching and listening at home to the Record Celtic podcast, brought to you by NordVPN. And we'll be back next week. Guys, thanks very much.
Cheers,
mate. Thank you very much.